Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Way Forward Leader Lunch Break. Today, we're thrilled to welcome Anna Schwager from Southwest Airlines. Anna serves as Regional Leader of Community Affairs and Grassroots for Southwest, a company that is known for its culture, as well as being the nation's largest carrier in terms of customers boarded. Employees come first at Southwest because then customers and shareholders benefit. As Ms. Schwager says, we are in the customer service business. We just happen to fly airplanes. She launched her career at Southwest 27 years ago, February 1994, as a customer service agent in her hometown of Little Rock. During her 27 years with the company, she has held leadership positions within customer service and support and marketing, and in her current role, she is responsible for strategic outreach to national, state, and local nonprofits and business organizations that positively impact communities served by Southwest. She is the one who tells the stories that demonstrate the heart of Southwest, from fulfilling the dreams of a Make-A-Wish child to coordinating a wedding in flight. She's done it all. She embodies the Southwest philosophy of have a warrior spirit, a servant's heart, and a fun-loving attitude. While many businesses retracted during the pandemic, Southwest seized the opportunity to expand, even in the face of daunting financial losses. To tell the Southwest story and to announce our special partnership in the celebration of their 50-year anniversary, please welcome Anna Schwager.
Thank you, Marianne. Gosh, I need to hire you as my PR agent. Actually, it's 26 years, not 27. So I already feel too old right now, but I just celebrated 26 years at Southwest. So thank you so much for having me today. I'm happy to share a few minutes about how Southwest has navigated through the pandemic, and then announce our kindness initiative. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. And then we'll kick it to the next slide, Andrew. We'll kick off, I'll share a little bit. Marianne kind of already shared a little bit of my Southwest history, but these are some of kind of the highlights of my 26 years at Southwest. I've got my team picture in the left corner and some of the other fun projects that I've worked on over the years. The wedding in the sky was actually probably one of the top 3 things that I've been a part of at Southwest, and that's the picture up in the right-hand corner. That's Keith and Dottie. They wrote a letter to Southwest, and they flew us all the time, and they wanted to get married on a Southwest plane. So we loved the idea, and we said, you know what? We're getting ready to launch a new nonstop service from Nashville to Dallas Love Field. If you'll be on that inaugural flight, we'll help you plan a wedding. So we actually worked with their wedding planner, and they bought tickets with all of their rapid reward points for 60 guests, family and friends, and we welcomed them on our inaugural flight. So it was so fun. That was, gosh, probably 7 years ago. I'm still friends with Keith and Dottie to this day. So Southwest has just given me some really amazing opportunities throughout my 26-year career. Next slide, please, Andrew. So if you know anything about Southwest, I hope you know that our company logo is a heart. And some of you may not know, but our symbol on the New York Stock Exchange is love, L-U-V. So maybe some of you own a little bit of Southwest, which I hope you do. But everything we do is based on our heart and the golden rule and being kind to people. And that's the way it's been since we were founded 50 years ago. So some things you may not know, a few quick little stats. We carry more customers than any other airline. And I'm going to skip 2020 at the beginning right here. I'm going to go back to 2019. We carried 134 million customers. We served about 90 million bags of pretzels. We received 356,000 applications and hired 6,700 people. It's actually harder to get a job at Southwest than it is to get into Harvard. And we moved about 158 million pounds of cargo. So that was 2019. 2020 looked a lot different. We were poised for a great 2020 heading into the year. We started the year with a lot of momentum from an outstanding 2019, both operationally and financially. We had a very strong balance sheet and a plan in place to continue the trends of our success over the recent years. However, in just 3 short months, that changed. It changed everyone's life. You know, at this point last year actually is when we kind of started seeing huge drops in passenger demand, cancellations. It pretty much just changed and brought the travel and tourism industry to a standstill. So Southwest soon found itself in the single most devastating crisis of our nation and our industry. But we were prepared. And preparedness has always been a great strength of Southwest Airlines. And I'm so grateful to work for a company that relies on being prepared, because our revenue dropped 95%. Our load factor back in April was 8%. Our load factors typically are probably in the 80% range, just to give you a kind of a comparison there. We experienced several days of net negative bookings in March and April. And that means that we had more cancellations than new bookings on several days in those 2 months. That had never happened in our history. We immediately instituted a hiring freeze. We offered voluntary leave options for our employees. And then later in the summer, we offered a voluntary separation package. And then we began aggressively evaluating all capital spending, discretionary spending, and all non-essential costs for near-term cost reductions. We were laser focused, and still are today, on conserving cash. We were able to get the payroll support, which allowed us to avoid furloughs and layoffs, which Southwest has never had a furlough or layoff in 50 years. So we were so happy that we were able to avoid that, especially in light of what all happened last year. I don't know if any of you have had the chance to fly us since the pandemic started, but if you have, or if you follow us on our social channels, I hope that you have seen information about our Southwest Promise. So back in May, we announced our Southwest Promise, which was our multi-layered approach to safety measures. We knew that we wanted our customers, those who were willing to fly, and our employees, that we were doing everything in our ability to make the environment, the airport environment, the onboard environment as safe as possible. So that was our Southwest Promise. And that, of course, encompassed several things, but the face masks are required for every employee and customer over 2 years old. The full exchange of cabin air with fresh outdoor air and HEPA filters that circulates every 2 minutes. The stringent cleaning. Every night our planes get deep cleaned 6 to 7 hours a night. The lavatories and tray tables are cleaned between every flight. We have a modified boarding procedure. So we instituted that in May, and it's still in our process and procedures today, because we know that that's very important to our customers and our employees. So I think back in May, we started seeing some upticks in our bookings, which was good news. But then those fell again when the uptick in cases went up towards the end of June and July. So it's been very hard for us to predict travel demand, which is something prior to the pandemic we were pretty good at, knowing that if we put this many flights on a route, then we pretty much knew, what kind of demand we would get. And that just totally messed everything up with the pandemic. So we actually ended 2020 with carrying 54 million customers. So that's almost a third less of what we had carried in 2019. We continue to burn $15 million a day to operate the airline. But we're in a much better position today, a year later. So we know that we have a long way to go before travel demand returns and we return to profitability. We just don't know we really don't know what business travel is going to do right now. So we're focused really right now on leisure customers, because leisure customers are the ones who are traveling for the most part. So we've announced 17 new markets probably in the last 6 months, which is unheard of. And so a lot of these are destinations where people are wanting to go spend time outdoors. So lots of places in Colorado, the skiing, Palm Springs, Savannah, Georgia, Sarasota, Florida. So we have all these new, we had all these airplanes sitting on the ground and all these employees who needed to work. So for a very small startup cost, we can put our airplanes into all these new markets. And as the demand starts to return, we're hoping to gain new customers along the way. So, we have a vaccine now, 3 vaccines. Herd immunity is on the horizon. So it's definitely a positive outlook, but we have a long way to go. So in moving into 2020, our focus will still be on recovery, focused again on keeping our costs low, conserving cash, and number one, taking care of our people. So next slide, please, Andrew. So even with everything that was going on in the early days of the pandemic, we knew that we had a responsibility to bring our warrior spirit and servant's heart to those in need. So initially, we were getting a lot of requests to help transport medical workers to COVID hotspots. So we donated, I think, 150 tickets to help transport workers. I mean, these are things we were working in keep the lights on mode, but we knew we still had the ability. You know, we had to think creatively about how we wanted to kind of help give back. We've always had a history of giving back, but that obviously looks different when you're just trying to survive. So we helped move medical professionals in the beginning. We provided many complimentary cargo services to humanitarian relief organizations, shipping PPE, ventilators, and other life-saving medical devices across the country. You know, and with travel pretty much coming to a stop, a lot of times we would be flying these cargo supplies with no passengers on board. So we are an essential business, and we kept flying even then when in some cases, in many cases, there was no customers on board. So, and then as you can imagine, with no customers, we don't have a need to serve all the snacks and beverages that we had. So we reached out to 13, we actually provided 13 tractor trailer fulls of snacks and beverages to 15 Feeding America food banks, hospitals, and community partners across the country. So in Cleveland, that was the Greater Cleveland Food Bank. We donated about $10,000 worth of snacks and drinks to your community. And then in addition, we also engaged our customers. So we put a microsite on our homepage and encouraged our customers to donate to one of 3 of our national nonprofit partners, American Red Cross, Team Rubicon, and Feeding America. And so they would get rapid reward points for dollars donated. So that promotion raised $650,000. Our customers did that for those 3 national nonprofits. Andrew, next slide. This is one of my favorite ones. You know, you never know what kind of request you're going to get at Southwest. We got a call from the Denver Zoo that said, we need some help transporting fresh plants for our animals from a grower in another city. So we jumped into action, put those fresh plants in our cargo hold and sent them on out to Denver and made some animals very happy that day. So it's interesting to know what all the kind of things we ship on Southwest. So next slide, please. And then as with many nonprofits struggling during COVID, we wanted to do something for the children. So one of the big events that Southwest has hosted for 35 years is called the Love Classic. And it was a big golf tournament in Dallas, which is where we're headquartered. And it raises money every year for different nonprofits. Originally, it started with the Ronald McDonald House. And actually, we've donated, in 2011, the Cleveland Ronald McDonald House was a recipient of funds from the Love Classic golf tournament. $128,000 went to the Cleveland Ronald McDonald House. So obviously, this past year, we couldn't hold the event, but we had raised the money from the previous year. So we got creative and we asked our employees for nominations on a deserving organization within their community that serves children, families, and communities with a special emphasis on COVID relief efforts. So we were able to donate $1 million to 101 deserving organizations in every domestic city that we serve. In Cleveland, that was Providence House, received a donation of $5,000 from Southwest. So it was just good to really be able to keep giving back and getting creative about how we could do these kind of things in the midst of our financial crisis. Next slide, Andrew. Of course, all these examples that I shared were some of the efforts that were caused by the pandemic, but as we all know, 2020 brought to light the social injustices that take place specifically within the Black community. So Southwest, we've had a long history of partnering with diverse organizations, both on a local level and national level, but we were able to, through our Southwest Foundation, make an additional contribution to the National Urban League and 100 Black Men of America to support both their national and local initiatives. So we contributed $500,000 to those organizations who we were already working with. And then, other crisis, events are happening. So we're always called upon whenever there's a disaster. And the California wildfires were happening. We flew, I think 200 firefighters from other states out to California to help give some relief to those firefighters who have been working so hard putting those out. So we're always, anytime there's a disaster, we pretty much are trying to help, with the resources we have to do our part to help with these community issues. Next slide, please. So now that gets us to our 50th anniversary. So this year we kicked off an Acts of Kindness campaign. So all year long, we're asking our customers, our employees, and our community partners to help us spark kindness in the world. And so we've created a kindness pledge, and I will share that with you. And then I'd like to share a couple of we get thousands of customer stories every year at Southwest. So, it really takes a lot, I think, for someone. A lot of people can send in a complaint letter, but it takes a lot for somebody to send in an actual, we call them good story letter. And we get thousands of these every year. So I'm going to share a couple of quick little stories on our employees and what the little things they do that help create kindness. So the kindness pledge, we'll get into that actually in a minute with the video, but let me share these stories. So this is one story from our customer, Bretta O, and she said, yesterday, when we arrived at the check-in counter at Southwest Airlines in Corpus Christi, Texas, they asked if we were on vacation. And I told them we had been, unfortunately, traveling for a funeral. An hour later, we were sitting at the gate waiting for our flight home, and an announcement came over the loudspeaker asking for us to come to the counter. Assuming there was a problem, I went up and the attendant handed me a card and expressed her sympathy for our loss. How thoughtful and caring is that? It was a simple, lovely gesture that touched our hearts. This is another reason why I continue to fly Southwest Airlines. When we needed to fly out quickly to Texas before my father-in-law passed away last week, I did not even consider shopping around for cheaper tickets. I knew Southwest would get us there efficiently and with no fuss at all. I was right. The peace of mind that comes with flying you is worth every penny. And then one other story. Hello, I wanted to pay serious kudos to Richard, a flight attendant on my flight from Houston to Los Angeles this morning. I asked if food was being served on our next leg. We had a short stop in Dallas, and mentioned that I was hungry and had forgotten to eat breakfast. He gave me water and cookies, and then during our Dallas stop, somehow bought me food at Jason's Deli in the Dallas airport. I couldn't believe it. I am so, so grateful for his generosity and kindness. I didn't even have cash to repay him. He wasn't aware, but I'm pregnant, and I was really in need of that snack. His selfless act truly made my day and reinforced why we choose Southwest every time. Thank you, Richard. And it kept going too. He gave my toddler the cutest airplane toy and wings. Seriously, the best service ever. So I just wanted to share a couple of our employee stories. It's so, spending 26 years at Southwest, I think the thing that I love most is when I tell somebody I work for Southwest, immediately they want to tell me their favorite Southwest story. And it's so humbling to work for a brand that truly is focused on, well, first taking care of employees and then taking care of our customers. So, so before we actually kick it over to, I want to show you our kindness microsite and then the kindness video. But before we do that, we like to surprise and delight our customers at Southwest. So I've got a little surprise for one of y'all today. We're going to give away 2 round-trip tickets anywhere Southwest flies. So I know I'm getting my second vaccine soon, and I've already booked my trip to Hawaii. So I'm hoping that all you are ready to get on a plane and go somewhere. And so we put everybody's name in a raffle, and then we picked one, and the lucky winner is Allison Love, Lucasi, or is she from Love? I'm not sure.
Allison Lucasy Love.
Okay, Allison, pack your bags because you just won 2 round-trip tickets on Southwest Airlines, and I will email you the information afterwards. So we'll go ahead and kick it over, Andrew, to the video, and then we'll open it up for questions.
I pledge to spark acts of kindness.
One at a time.
Sprinkling compassion around the world.
I will practice hospitality.
Making people feel welcome,
cared for, and appreciated.
I will treat others with courtesy,
politeness,
and respect.
I will do the little things.
Because little things make a big difference.
I commit to putting my heart into action.
sharing a smile, and a little bit of love.
And making someone's day a little bit brighter.
So I think that Rachel is going to put the link in the chat, and I would love for each of you to go and take the kindness pledge. You just have to type your name in, and then it's a running track, so it goes towards our total of $1 million. And there's actually some little inspiration pieces on underneath where you sign your name. If you need ideas on how to spark kindness, we've got some fun little things you can click on. It's fun to do with students and children and everything. So I hope you check it out. And I'm happy to answer any questions. And I live in Nashville. I don't think I told you that at the beginning. So I live in Nashville, and then I handle 12 markets for Southwest and some national partners, as well as our national efforts on sustainability. So hi from Nashville, Cleveland.
Well, Anna, thank you so much. And again, for your and Southwest generosity, and Allison, congratulations. We have had some questions come in. So to start, how do you decide who you support in the communities that you serve?
Well, we have certain pillars that we support. So we have about 6 pillars, but we've really honed that into kind of 3 pillars for this year, just based on our financial situation. So those are civility, sustainability, and workforce development. So we have some other pillars that also will be focused on when hopefully our financial situation improves. But right now, those are the 3 we're working on. So we really just meet with organizations. We're not looking to add anybody right now because, again, of the financial situation we're in. We've actually had to cut some of our partners this year. But, you know, we want to look to see what kind of work they're doing, if it makes a good fit for Southwest, what kind of impact we can make, what they're doing in the community. Yeah, and it really is about relationship building. So
how do you keep that culture of giving back alive with employees, especially since kind of models and things and how teams come together can look so different?
You know, I think that Southwest, we spend so much time in the interview process trying to make sure we find the type of person who has the 3 values we're looking for. We're looking for a warrior spirit, a servant's heart, and a fun-loving attitude. So if we, through the interview process, find somebody that kind of has those traits naturally, we want them part of our family. We hire them, and then we do something crazy. We let them be themselves. And I think you hear that a lot. People like to tell, oh, the flight attendant sang a story or they told a joke. We're not training our employees to do this. That's part of their natural personality. So we really, I think that's where it all starts with us. We want people who naturally have those serving heart kind of values already built within them.
So based on the changes and adaptations that you saw in 2020, are there programs or procedures that will continue even after the pandemic?
You know, I think there probably will be. I know that we're going, and I think this was being looked at even before the pandemic, but work from home flexibility for our corporate employees. It's something that the policy is going to roll out on. So, I mean, we had to pivot. I've worked from home for 15 years, but all of our corporate employees in Dallas hadn't worked from home. So, I mean, just like everyone, they had to pivot very fast and learn how to do that. But we also know that even before the pandemic, that's one thing that when employees are looking to stay and retain employees, that's important, you know, that work flexibility. So it's something that's important to Southwest. So I think we'll definitely see that stick around. And I'm sure there will be other things to come. Yeah.
So you had mentioned adding some new destinations. So will those new destinations stay, or does it change on demand? And how quickly does that change happen?
Well, I think they're here to stay because these are all amazing places where people want to go. Just to give you a little background, when a community wants Southwest, I mean, sometimes we've seen communities, I opened up our 2 cities in South Carolina, they had been lobbying for Southwest service for 20 years. So I think all these 17 destinations that we've recently announced, they were on our larger list. They would have never all been opened. And I mean, we typically may open 2 markets a year. So it's just the situation that this pandemic, we're there to stay. I mean, we don't go into a market with the idea that we're going to pull out. We want the market to know we're committed to them because it makes such a huge economic impact for a community to have air service there. So no, we're there to stay, and I think we're going to be adding more. I'm having to learn a whole new list of airline codes.
As we start to look ahead, what have you heard about when travel and tourism may bounce back to potentially pre-pandemic levels? And when do you anticipate that demand returning?
That's something we just don't know. I mean, we are from our Southwest business side, who they work directly with the businesses, the travel managers that are responsible for booking business. They just don't know. There's a lot of companies that still have travel bans in place. And a lot of, frankly, companies have cut out that large travel expense from last year and moved virtual. So we really, truly don't know when that's going to bounce back. And that's why I think you're seeing us focus our efforts right now on the leisure customer.
In thinking about air travel, how might it change long term because of the experiences and the changes that we've had to make in the pandemic? Or do you see it returning to a pre-pandemic experience?
That's a hard one. I mean, I think you probably will see more people, wearing masks when they're in flight, even when it's not required. That's a hard one to answer. I don't know, but I think that, me personally, I probably will, especially in the winter months, wear a mask. I mean, it's a good idea, So I don't know. That's an interesting question. I think we'll just have to see.
As you think past over the year, what has been one of your bigger challenges and how have you worked through that challenge?
Oh, well, it's been, for me personally and my team, it was very hard because, when March rolled around and we went into this financial crisis, all these organizations that we deal with, and some we had already promised commitments to, we had to pull back, and that was hard on partners that you've supported, and, they're going through a hard time. And we've just had to change the entire way we do our support from an outreach side, because we typically could support partners well in advance, let them know that we can't do that anymore. So we really are looking at our business from day to day before we can support them. So that's been very hard, and watching our nonprofit partners go through their challenges and whatnot. So I know that for me and my team, it's been a challenge to see that. So
We have time for one more question.
okay.
So Anna, as you have a group of us here from Cleveland on the call, what do you need most or hope to see most from the Cleveland community?
Well, I'd love to see you buy a ticket on Southwest Airlines. That's probably my first ask. So no, really, it truly is. I mean, we're there to serve every community, and having air service is a big part of both from a business and leisure standpoint. So, we hope that you'll buy a ticket. We hope that for this year and moving on, you will spark acts of kindness, whether they be small or large. It's just, I love this initiative. It's what we all need right now. And so I challenge every one of you to go out today and spark an act of kindness with someone.
Well, Anna, we thank you so much for your time and your generosity today. And I want to toss it back to Marianne.
Thanks so
you.
much, Rachel. And this has been fabulous. And I hope you'll have a moment to look through the chat. There's been lots of shout outs for Southwest and positive experiences. So
Thank
you've
you.
got a lot of fans on this Zoom.